I'm one of those who are opposing this. The police have terrorized me and my family and a lot of my friends, and I have never committed a crime. We live in fear of the police. We have PTSD because of police. When I grew up, we used to respect police. It was a noble profession. We salute soldiers. But now everything is us against them, and it's become terroristic to community members. None of my friends who are being harassed and terrorized by police have ever committed a crime. Okay. So the answer isn't hiring more. I believe the answer is doing things properly. There are different counties, different states, different countries whose police department is effective, and they don't have to keep hiring more. And as some of the people already testified, they're leaving Puna. The police we do have now are leaving Puna. So if you hire more, are they even going to stick around? Are they going to continue terrorizing us in our homes, in public? It's not the answer. They have these police camps, body camps, that were purchased with taxpayer money that they refuse to wear, that their union came in and said, we're not going to do this. I think that would deter a lot of police crime against the community if they were held accountable by a police camp. Put them on. You have them. Put them on. Okay? That would deter a lot of the crime that police commit against the community. Now, I guess our protection is we need to go purchase surveillance. Maybe we should be reimbursed if we have to wear body cams to protect us from whatever the police are going to do to us or our children. Okay? I have a friend who couldn't be here. He's been harassed by police for years, never committed a crime. He suggested, instead of hiring more, which is what we don't need, to switch the cop salaries with the teachers. That the teachers should be paid what the cops are paid. They get $500 a month on car benefits and this perk and that perk. And all they need is a high school diploma and a willingness to terrorize. The teachers are working hard. They should get the $80,000 a year to start. And the police should switch. They're public servants. I think they forgot that. I think their role in the community has been forgotten. They're here to protect and serve. They're here to uphold the law. And I know that peace officers uphold the law. Police officers uphold corporate policy. And we need to stop being abused by people who aren't even enforcing a law, who are merely enforcing corporation policy at our expense.
Okay, thank you.
My family did not want me to be here today for fear of what might happen to me for what I'm about to say. Hi, I'm Thunderfoot, a Native American clergy for 28 years, lived on this island for 23. I run several nonprofits, including a church and a community organization, resulting in long-term contact with many people in and out of my community. My voice represents a consensus of many in the sentiment about the dysfunctional police system, which includes the adding of officers. Yes, the population is expanding, but we need to fix the broken system first, or else we're going to magnify the problems, and this includes the negligence of the police commission and the mayor's office. The community has lost trust in the police. This makes police ineffective because they lose tips for crimes from the community that they could have obtained for their investigation had they not alienated them. I remember the days when you wanted to grow up to be a police officer, when they were your friend. But after everything that has happened to me, I'm traumatized for life, now have PTSD and get nervous every time I see the police. So with events like this, it will take a lot of work to gain the community's trust again. How many people do not speak out for fear of retaliation? I certainly wrestled with coming here today because every time I speak out, I get visited by the police weekly for a while. I truly am concerned for my safety and freedom, and others feel the same. One thing is needed is a public forum with the community to share their concerns and solutions, to use the data to help revamp the police system. I was going to give you a packet that detailed examples, but I'm too afraid to give it to you, so I will just tell you what was in it. that the police are guilty of kidnapping, allying with an entity that is being investigated by the Deputy Attorney General for racketeering, failing to write complete police report drug and alcohol test on the driver, their friend, in a vehicular homicide event, stealing a gun, getting caught having sex in the substation, and transfer the officers into a new area, and there's a lot more. Hiring more officers will magnify these problems. We need accountability and transparency and revamp the police system, training, guide manual, police commission, prosecutor's office, and mayor's office, and all police complaints and findings should be available for public information. We pay their salaries. Public information for criminal records, so why can't we have public information for police complaints and their findings? To conclude, since the county government is by the people and for the people and is in charge of the police system, the people need action. It is the responsibility of the county and this Committee on Public Safety to keep the public and the police safe, and also to keep the public safe from the police. Oahu already has the FBI investigating their police system. So if the county council ignores these community concerns, the council will be viewed as a condoning accomplice to these issues, some of which are criminal. Basically, a failure to act upon these issues equates to you not being willing to fix the system, therefore making you negligent. So if you ignore and fail to act upon these facts brought to your attention, then the county may put itself in a position for a class action lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you, Thunderfoot. Mr. Sadek?
Good afternoon, members of the council. My name is Abul Qasim Ibrahim Sadiq. I'm the founder of the Universal Realm of the Lord Almighty that stands by believing in God is optional, believing in humanity is not, and also I'm saying that each and every human being should be the savior by fighting injustice, helping itself and others, and do no harm. I have a recent poster that I didn't bring that reflects what happened today here. 2 circles. One of them is a happy face about the police department, public face of the police department. The other one is gray and dark and has nothing in it. That's what I have experienced for 6 continuous years. And it's like being in a web that you cannot move, that you're not in prison, but you're in prison. You have not committed a crime, but they make you feel like you have committed all the atrocities in the world. Something happened on January 8th, Tuesday, January 8th, that reflects what I'm facing. Nancy Cooklauer and I have not been on the same frequency. On January 8th, I sent an email to her, to the editors of the 2 counties, and to our chairman, Aaron Chung. The email was returned. Aaron Chung's name was changed to Jen Ruggles. And amazingly enough, Susan mentioned that before I did. She knew about it before email to her would be returned. And for a while I wonder why. They had changed the .com, .gov to .com. What I wanted to say today is, again, the 2 circles represent in a way what is going on here. For 6 years I have complained about the police department. And nothing has been, not only anything has been done about it, but the greatest insult was to myself and to the rest of the animal kingdom we are an integral part of, and have been at the end of 3.8 thousand million years of evolution, and we haven't still grasped the meaning of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And police has done everything possible to make my life a living hell. And I have no hope. I apologize for saying, talking about, I'm sorry, I said something that I apologize later. I'm feeling badly. I should not have. I took that apology back by apologizing. Oh, how do you dare? I undermine the rest of the animal kingdom that we are an integral part of. And until we realize that, I don't think we're going to be able to solve our problems. We have an oligarchy system of government. I think I don't have to explain that. And yes, and the police is running this entire county. I just want to read this. The Big Island's lying, psychotic police department even uses children to achieve its satanic objectives.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Sadek.
It's very difficult to be up here because of that, but I agree that there's inadequate police in Pune. I totally agree with that, but it's not that we need more. We need Pono police that know how to treat people like human beings, that know that you're innocent until proven guilty, which I don't know where that's gone, but yeah, I had a off-duty policeman put me in the ER. He was from KL, the great police force. Beat the crap out of me. I didn't do anything but pass him on a yellow. He just hates women. He knocked me out. There was blood. Anyway, he almost killed me. I got bruises still. Oh, that's just one. Yeah, PTSD much. Wake up crying. Oh, so the police money, how much are they getting? Why do 3 Pahoa policemen pull me over? Do you know why you're pulled over? No, you have a dirty license plate. I thought he was joking. I'm shaking. This is not funny. 3 patrol cars had me on the side of the road for a half an hour for a dirty license plate. A guy in Pahoa standing in the main road of Pahoa at rush hour, pulling people over for no seatbelt, obstructing traffic in the middle of the road. Who's policing the police? The police commission is not. I've been in front of them. They don't care. I don't know what's going on, but I know that these men are hurting, and that's why they're killing themselves, not because they're in danger, because they're creating danger, and they're miserable. I know there's good cops, there's good police work out there, and I know there's a way to make good cops out of these people or get them out of here. There's no aloha here. I've lived in 5 or 8 different states. Louisiana is supposed to be the most corrupt state in the Union. Hawaii can teach them something. I cannot believe this place. It's just... I had an altercation just this month, actually, and I'm going to go back in front of the commission again because they're shooting young men and children on the mainland. Beating up old ladies over here ain't no big deal, and it just gets swept under the rug. It's not a problem. All the women, all the people opposing here, except for one, is a woman because these men are hurting. Their mothers messed them up. I ask you all to research the Daytona Beach, Florida police chief. He's got it down. Please research that and find out what he's done to get his police force number 1 with Bike Week down there and Spring Break Week and all those drunk kids and all those bikers. You go figure out what they did because he's doing something right, and we need to fix this. I'm going to go run to the Kingdom of Hawaii and get my nationality with them because this is nuts.
Thank you, Miss Alexander.
Thank you.
Next, if we could have Margaret Shim and Shawna Logan. Please go ahead, have a seat, and introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes.
For letting us come in and speak. I have a few statistics here that I just wanted to say. I really appreciate that Matt brought forward that we needed more police in the area, but before we need more police, I think there needs to be some serious training for the police, and I'm just going to go forward with that. Hawaii has the highest statistics of mentally ill homeless population per capita in the whole United States. The Hawaii police have killed more people per capita than most of the other U.S. cities. This is some statistics from Honolulu Civil Beat 2015, so I'm sure it's quite higher than that now. Aloha State ranks 5th in the nation for the number of individuals killed after law enforcement encounters. It's a known fact in the disability community on Big Island to call the EMT or fire department in an emergency because the EMT workers have different standards than the Big Island police. Flyers posted around the Puna district warn, don't call the police, especially if you're autistic, hearing impaired, mentally ill, elderly, suffer from dementia, disabled, or have any other condition that might hinder your ability to understand, communicate, or immediately comply with an order. Don't call the police. These are flyers on bulletin boards. Sometimes it's dangerous enough calling the cops when you're not contending with a disability, but unfortunately the risks just skyrocket when a disability is involved. Disabled individuals make up a third to a half of all people killed by law enforcement officials. Disabled individuals make up the majority of those killed in the use of force cases. Trained to shoot first and ask questions later, police pose a risk to anyone with special needs whose disabilities may not be immediately apparent or require more finesse than the typical freeze or I'll shoot you tactics employed by Hawaii police forces. Where does this leave us? For starters, we need better police training across the board, but especially when it comes to de-escalation tactics and crisis intervention. The police need to learn how to slow confrontations down instead of ramping up the tension and the noise, using de-escalation tactics for dealing with disabled individuals. CIT mental response teams suggest that instead of rushing to take someone into custody, police should try to slow down with a person when they come to them. More police mean that you and the community are more likely to become a victim. Big Island needs more training if there are going to be more police officers. Chemo Alameda at the Office of Aging is a great resource for training Big Island's police reports. And just quickly, in Honolulu, they have ride-alongs for people for mental health, domestic violence, and hostage situations. And I think that Big Island needs to look into that. And Maui was trained with the CIT program with the leading CIT specialist for the international CIT training specialist. And there's lots and lots of articles everywhere. And I think that before you get more police, you need to make it an issue for the retraining. And we've been to the police commission for the past 4 years. We've been to the police chief. We've been to corporation council. We've been to the mayor's office. I can go on and on. The police aren't properly trained, and neither are any of the other offices in disability. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shim. Ms. Logan?
Hello, my name is Shawna Logan. I'm a resident of Hilo. I was a teacher at Keonepoko Elementary, and I know that the Puna era has a lot of problems with crime, and I feel for the families there, and I do support this bill, but I do ask, as others have, that the police be better trained in disabilities, mental health, domestic violence. These issues are very important because Puna, I used to live there as well. I have a disabled child. I am a victim of domestic violence, and I have interfaced with various entities such as the police department and child welfare services, and I have found that none of them know what they're doing in domestic violence, disabilities, or mental health. I appreciate the police department. There are those who have learned on the job because they are good people, but there are many that make the decisions that don't know what they're doing. And I say that with all due respect. I am just saying that we struggle. Families on this island struggle. And we do need the support of the police department, and we do support the police department. I myself have been helped greatly by the police department, and I just want to make sure that they are following the Constitution and not taking children from homes, which is the sheriff's responsibility. If you want to free up time from the police department, have them stop taking children from homes. That is not their responsibility or their role. HRS 587 is unconstitutional, allows them to take children in violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. I do understand that there are times that children need to be removed, but not by the police department and not with HRS 587. There should always be, first and foremost, the oath that they take in office to uphold the Constitution. That comes before policy, procedure, or anything else. Child welfare is not the Constitution. HRS 587 needs to be updated so that our First Amendment rights and our Fourth Amendment rights as parents are protected. Another thing is that child welfare needs to make sure that if they are using the police, that there is a police case. Because if there is no police case, there is no CWS case. So I support the funding, and I ask that they be better trained and that the decision makers also be better trained. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Logan.
My name is Shelley Stevens, Mahi Hanai. And I remember growing up, some of my best friends were actually the younger daughter of the chief of police. And I always believed in police officers and trusted them until an incident that happened to me right there at KL. And basically, to make a long story short, the first officer who offered me a ride, he was honorable. But the other two officers, I basically got rescued by the EMS and ended up in the emergency room. I couldn't use my arms for over 3 months. And my fingers ended up like this once the swelling went down. Luckily, I have surgery. But the main focus of what I'm trying to say here is that the police department, I personally agree with law and order and the sheer size of Puna, and what's been happening there. You do need maybe extra police force, but the main thing is that right now, the police department is still under a no continuum pain compliance system, which means they can go into use of force at their own discretion. And that one of the worst things is, because I have a copy of their training manual, and it says they can go into use of force up to lethal force. And that they can do what's called neck strikes or neck jabs, basically to your brachial plexus here, which is what happened to me after I was handcuffed. And my charges were all dismissed because there was no sidewalk for me to walk on at KL. And that I just want to let you know that the police department actually tried to tell the federal judge that they were not part of the county. Corporation Counsel said that. So that the federal judge was not too happy with our Corporation Counsel. Also that he told the Corporation Counsel, if I didn't get everything I needed to try to solve the police brutality issue, he was going to place a $140,000 sanction on the county. So that's already occurred. And so I'm just saying, so far as $140,000, it's not coming to me. But what it needs to do is go to our community for better training and cameras, because there's got to be some reason why they won't wear the cameras. I also just wanted to say we need like a public hearing so that we can get the full scale of the police brutality, because that they're allowed to do use of force up to lethal force and the pain compliance without a continuum. And the neck strikes are done to juveniles and females. And Corporation Counsel is allowing it because they say that our necks are smaller than men's. And I personally went around with a ruler, a tape measure. And we need to be protected, and the handicapped need to be protected. And basically is to have a standard, a statewide standard, so that the trust can come back to the people. Not you call the police and you end up chained to the wall at the Cal police station and beat up like my friend's dad did, just because the neighbor pulled a gun on his daughter. Turns out the neighbor knew the police officer, so it got switched around really fast. So in any case...
Thank you, Ms. Mahi.
Okay. I just need to say that, my citation, it was a citation. Jaywalking is a citation, innocent until proven guilty. So on a continuum, I shouldn't have ended up in the emergency room the way I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call up Larkin Correa and Carol Noel. Thank you, Ms. Green. Go ahead and state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
From the Puna District, Puna Makai. Please focus on selecting, training, briefing, retaining, and supporting the officers we have hired. You might find that we need to hire trainers, supervisors, and support personnel instead of more officers. Selecting and training. The Aerospace Medical Association awarded me a certificate in the selection and training of aircrew. The selection of District 8 officers results in a 40% retention rate. It costs $250,000 to train each officer. That's a loss of $150,000 per officer. The training includes 999 hours of a variety of training programs that could be funded by the federal government by grant or on a cost share basis. The recruit could participate in the cost share program like the rest of us have to when we ask for funding to assist in our business endeavors to improve the community. That would provide incentive for the recruit to persevere and find creative ways to overcome obstacles. More than 200 Hawaii residents signed my year 2018 petition to ask for federal funding for training and other law enforcement and justice programs, including trauma-informed law enforcement. The police chief responded that the officers are amenable to participating in federally funded training. Consider hiring support personnel for the grant writers. Briefing. I am a certified mental health first responder. I've assessed the psychological and cognitive capacities of the 50 officers who have been called out to my home and business, most by the local mob that is trying to steal my home and business out from under me. And some of the officers were so gullible they fell for the tactics of coercion and ended up assisting the mob in vandalizing my car and stealing my cash, photo identification card, shelter, carport, cell phones, memory devices, two-way radio charger, and thousands of anthurium plants from me. So I have been providing officers with briefing materials to prevent it from happening again. So far, 2 of those officers have apologized to me. Hire specialists to brief the officers on how to better serve the citizens they are devoted to protecting. Retaining. The mounted data terminals should alleviate some of the, I say hire human factor specialists to do the job of analyzing the situation. The mounted data terminals should alleviate some of the frustration of central dispatch sending officers back and forth without telling them what's on the to-do list. Prioritization of service calls should be transparent. Officers took 11 hours to respond when the mob locked me in. During that time, I saw officers drive by more than once. If they knew I was waiting for them, they might have stopped before I missed my court hearing. We could purchase the equipment that I recommended officers start to use, increase safety on the job. However, I've already told some officers to purchase it yourself if your life is worth the $500. I asked for specialization, and I got it. Sometimes we have 17 HPD District 8 law enforcement officers on the road at any one time, but only 8 of them patrol. Hire support personnel to organize volunteers. So civil defense is helping out, and talk with your local emergency management officials to determine your emergency needs. We've got React International could come in and help alleviate that problem by being extra radios and reporting crimes. Thank you.